Hey folks, it's your old pal Grandpa Harry here, coming at you from my cozy den in suburban Chicago. Grab a cup of joe, settle in, cause I've got a whopper of a story to tell. It's all about family, betrayal, and a heaping dose of revenge that still gives me chills. Now this ain't no fairy tale. It's straight from the heart, like something out of a Lifetime movie, but real as the nose on my face. Let's dive into part 1. The family setup and rising tensions. My name's Harold Thompson, but everyone calls me Harry. I'm pushing 75 now, retired from driving trucks across the Midwest for 40 years. My son, Michael, he's a good kid, works as an engineer in the city, married this gal, Emily, about 8 years back. Emily's from a well-to-do family up in the North Shore, the Carters. Her folks, Robert and Susan, always struck me as a bit snooty, you know? Big house, fancy cars, but hearts colder than a Wisconsin winter. Our grandson, little Timmy. Oh, that boy is the light of my life. 5 years old, with curly hair like his dad's and a laugh that could melt butter. Michael and Emily had some rough patches early on. Money troubles cause Emily liked the high life. But things got better when Michael's grandma passed and left us a nice chunk of land out by Lake Michigan. We planned to build a family cabin there, something for generations. Trouble started brewing when the Carters got wind of that inheritance. Robert, he's a real estate shark, always scheming. He'd drop hints at family barbecues. That lakefront property could fetch a fortune if developed right. Susan would chime in, all smiles, but I saw the greed in her eyes. Emily started siding with him, arguing with Michael about selling it off. We need the money for Timmy's future, she'd say. But I knew it was for their fancy vacations. Me? I stayed out of it mostly, but I warned Michael. Son, blood's thicker than water, but watch your back with in-laws. He laughed it off, thinking family meant harmony. Boy, was he wrong. We planned a big outing at the lake to bond, as Emily called it. The Carters came along. Robert, Susan, and Emily's brother, Jake, a hotshot lawyer type. As the day wore on, tension simmered. Robert kept pushing Michael about the land deed, saying it should go to Emily's side since she brought class to the family. I bit my tongue, playing with Timmy by the water's edge, tossing pebbles. Little did I know, that serene lake was about to become a nightmare. The Carters had a plan, whispering when they thought no one was listening. They saw Timmy as an obstacle. If something happened to him, Michael might crack, and the property could slip their way through Emily. By evening, as the sun dipped low, Jake accidentally bumped Timmy while they were fishing off the dock. But it wasn't no accident. I saw the shove in his eyes. Timmy tumbled in, screaming, arms flailing. The water was deep there, and the boy couldn't swim a lick. Michael dove in, but the current was pulling strong. My heart near stopped. That's my grandbaby. We got him out, coughing and crying, but the damage was done. The Carters played innocent. Oh, kids these days so clumsy. But I knew better. That night, lying awake, rage boiled in me. They didn't just push a kid. They pushed a family to the brink. And they had no idea about my brother Victor. Folks, Victor's the wild card in this deck. But I'll get to him soon. Stick around for part 2, where the real horror unfolds. Thanks for listening. Hit that like if you're hooked. Alright, welcome back friends. Grandpa Harry here, picking up where we left off in this gut-wrenching tale. If you missed part 1, go check it out. We talked about the family setup and how the Carters' greed started poisoning everything. Now part 2, the horrific lake incident. Buckle up. This one's heavy on the heartstrings. After Timmy's accident, we rushed him to the ER in town. Doc said he was lucky. No permanent damage, just some water in his lungs and a nasty scare. But me? I was fuming. I replayed that moment over and over. Jake's hand on Timmy's back. The deliberate push disguised as a stumble. Emily cried crocodile tears, hugging Michael while Robert and Susan patted backs like nothing happened. Boys will be boys, Robert chuckled. I wanted to deck him right there. Back home, Michael confronted Emily. Your brother did that on purpose, he yelled. She denied it, gaslighting him. You're paranoid, Mike. Jake loves Timmy, but I saw the cracks. Timmy woke up screaming nights, afraid of water. My poor grandson, who used to splash in puddles, now wouldn't even take a bath without tears. It broke me, seeing that innocence shattered. I started digging. Snooped around when the Carters visited next. Overheard Susan on the phone. If the kid's out of the picture, Emily gets everything. Michael's too soft. My blood ran cold. They weren't just greedy. They were monsters. Plotting against a child for land? In America, family should mean protecting your own, not this backstabbing nonsense. I told Michael what I heard. He didn't want to believe it at first. Dad, that's crazy talk. But doubt crept in. We hired a PE, quite like, to tail the Carters. Turns out Robert was in deep debt from bad investments. And that lake property was their golden ticket. Jake, the lawyer, had drawn up fake papers to contest the inheritance if tragedy struck. The emotional toll hit hard. Michael and Emily's marriage crumbled. Fights echoed through the house. Timmy clung to me, calling me Pops with those big eyes. Why'd Uncle Jake push me? He'd ask. I held him tight, swearing vengeance in my mind. But how? I'm just an old trucker, not some action hero. That's when I remembered Victor. My big brother, 10 years older, always the protector. We grew up in the rough parts of Detroit, him shielding me from bullies. He joined the Navy SEALs young, served in NAM, and later ops I can't even mention. Retired with honors, but whispers said he had connections. High-up folks in DC, private security firms. We hadn't talked much lately. He lived off-grid in Montana, hunting and fishing. But blood calls to blood. I picked up the phone that night, hands shaking. Vic, I said, voice cracking. They hurt Timmy. My grandson. Silence on the line. Then his gravelly voice. Tell me everything, Harry. No one's touched our family. A chill ran down my spine. The revenge train was leaving the station. As days turned to weeks, the Carters amped up pressure. Emily filed for divorce, demanding custody and the land. Robert sued us over some trumped-up boundary dispute. They thought they had us cornered, like wolves circling prey. But they didn't know Victor was coming, silent as a shadow. The emotional weight nearly crushed me, losing my family all over again. But hope flickered. Stay tuned for part 3, where the betrayal deepens and secrets unravel. Thanks for sticking with me, folks. Share if this hits home. Howdy again, everyone. Grandpa Harry back with part 3, Discovering the Betrayal. If you're just joining, catch up on parts 1 and 2. We've covered the setup, the lake push, and my call to Victor. This part's where the onion peels back, revealing layers of deceit that'll make your stomach turn. Victor arrived unannounced, pulling up in his beat-up Ford pickup like a ghost from the past. Tall, weathered, with eyes that could stare down a bear. Harry, he growled, hugging me fierce. Let's fix this. We sat on my porch, sipping black coffee. As I spilled every detail, Timmy peeked out, shy at first. But Victor knelt down. "Hey champ, Uncle Vic's here." "No more bad guys." The boy smiled. First real one in weeks. Victor didn't waste time. With his SEAL background, he had ways of uncovering dirt. He called old buddies in intelligence, ran background checks deeper than the FBI. What we found? A bombshell. The Carters weren't just greedy. They had a history. Robert had scammed folks in real estate before, skirting jail time thanks to Jake's legal tricks. Susan? She was in on it, falsifying documents. And Emily, my son's wife, knew about the push, text from her phone. Make it look accidental. Timmy's insurance payout covers the debts. My heart shattered reading that. How could a mother plot against her own flesh? Michael broke down when I showed him, punching a wall till his knuckles bled. I trusted her dad. We held each other, tears flowing. The emotional rawness hit like a semi-truck. Betrayal from within. The kind of pain that ages you overnight. Victor mapped out a plan, all calculated. No vigilante stuff. He was smarter than that. "We'll hit 'em legal, but hard," he said. "Ruin their world." He tapped his network. A buddy in the DA's office, another in media. We gathered evidence, witness statements from the lake. A fisherman saw Jake shove. Hacked emails, legally, through pros. Even bank records showing bribes. Meanwhile, the Carters doubled down. They showed up at our door, demanding to see Timmy. "He's our grandkid too," Susan wailed. I slammed the door. "Not after what you did." Emily lawyered up, fighting for everything. Timmy had nightmares, clinging to his daddy. I'd rock him to sleep, whispering stories of brave uncles like Victor. "Pops, will they hurt me again?" he'd ask. "No, Sonny, not on my watch." The revenge brew was simmering. Victor uncovered more. The Carters had pushed a cousin out years ago, faking an accident for inheritance. Patterns emerged. They were serial schemers. I felt sick, but empowered. For the first time, hope outweighed the hurt. As we built our case, Victor shared war stories, bonding with Michael and Timmy. "Family's all we got," he'd say, voice steady. It mended some wounds, seeing my brother step up like a guardian angel. But the storm was coming. The Carters partied like victors, oblivious. They didn't know Victor's web was closing in. Emotions ran high. Anger, grief, but a fire for justice. This wasn't just about us. It was for every family torn by greed. Hang tight for part 4, where we call in the big guns and the tables turn. Appreciate y'all listening. Drop a comment if you've got in-law horror stories. Hey there, loyal listeners. Grandpa Harry continuing our saga with part 4. Calling in my brother's help, we've journeyed through the betrayal steps in part 3. Now it's time for the tide to shift. Victor's in the mix, and things are heating up. With evidence piling up like cordwood, Victor orchestrated the counterattack. "Harry, we play smart," he advised. "No fists. Use the system." His first move, anonymous tips to the authorities. That fisherman witness? Victor tracked him down, got a sworn affidavit. Paired with those damning texts, we had child endangerment charges brewing against Jake and Emily. Michael filed for emergency custody, citing the plot. The judge, an old vet who knew Victor's rep, granted it quick. Emily screamed in court, "This is lies!" But the proof was ironclad. Timmy stayed with us, safe at last. Seeing his little face light up, playing in the yard without fear. That mended my soul a bit. Victor didn't stop there. He called in favors from DC contacts. Turns out, Robert's scams crossed state lines, triggering federal interest. IRS audits hit him hard. Hidden accounts surfaced, tax evasion galore. Susan's falsified docs, forgery charges, Jake's law license. Under review after ethics complaints flooded in, courtesy of Victor's network. The emotional roller coaster intensified. Michael grieved his marriage, but found strength in fatherhood. "Thanks, Uncle Vic," he'd say, shaking his hand. Timmy adored him, riding on his shoulders, calling him Super Vic. Me? I felt alive again, like back in my trucking days, hauling justice instead of freight. The Carters crumbled fast. Robert's business tanked when clients bailed, smelling scandal. Susan turned on him, blaming his greed. They sold the fancy house, moved into a dingy apartment. Emily, isolated, begged Michael for forgiveness. "I was manipulated," she claimed, but he stood firm. "You chose them over our son." Victor's masterstroke. A media leak. A buddy at a Chicago news station ran the story. Wealthy family plots against child for inheritance. Headlines blared. Social media exploded. The Carters became pariahs. Friends ghosted. Clubs blackballed them. Revenge tasted sweet, but bittersweet. I pitied him a tad, but remembered Timmy's cries. One night, Victor and I sat by the fire. "Why'd you vanish all these years?" I asked. He sighed. "War changes a man, Harry. But family pulls me back." We toasted to that, brothers reunited. The pain lingered, but healing's begun. Timmy slept sound, dreaming of fishing with Pops. As the net tightened, the Carters lashed out, threats, lawsuits. But Victor anticipated, countering every move. It was chess, and he was grandmaster. The revenge wasn't violent, it was surgical, dismantling their empire brick by brick. Folks, this part shows how one man's quiet power can topple giants. But the finale's coming. Join me for part 5, where justice serves cold and we find closure. Thanks for the support. Y'all are like family now. Well, folks, we've reached the end of the line. Grandpa Harry here with part 5, the ultimate revenge and resolution. If you followed from part 1 through the lake horror betrayals and Victor's plays, thanks for riding along. Now, let's wrap this with a bow of justice. The climax hit in court. Jake stood trial for assault and endangerment. That push wasn't accidental, proven by video from a hidden trail cam Victor's team found. Jury gasped at the footage. Clear as day, his hand shoving Timmy. Guilty verdict slammed down. 10 years behind bars. Emily pled out, getting probation, but losing custody forever. She slunk away, a shell of herself. Robert and Susan. The feds raided their home, seizing assets for fraud. Bankruptcy followed, their empire dust. They moved to a trailer park in Indiana, begging relatives for scraps. Poetic, ain't it? The greedy fall hardest. Victor's revenge peaked with a personal touch. He bought the lake property at auction, dirt cheap after their mess, and deeded it to Michael and Timmy. "Build that cabin," he said. "Make memories." We did. A sturdy log home where Timmy learned to swim, conquering his fears. Laughter echoed again, healing scars. Emotionally, it was a whirlwind. I forgave, sorta. Hate poisons the soul. Michael remarried a kind gal, Sarah, who dotes on Timmy. Victor stuck around, teaching the boys survival skills, bonding like the dad he never had kids of his own. Me? I cherish sunsets on that porch, grateful for second chances. The Carters? Last I heard, Robert's working odd jobs, Susan's bitter and alone. They tried apologizing once, via letter. I burned it. Some bridges stay ash. This story's about family, triumphing over evil. Blood matters, but chosen bonds too. Victor, my unsung hero, reminded me, we protect our own. Timmy's 10 now, thriving, calling me every day. Thanks for listening, friends. If this moved you, share it wide. Life's full of twists. Stay vigilant. Love fierce. Hit subscribe for more tales from an old timer. God bless and take care out there.